What is up, podcast? What is up, Insta? What is up, YouTube? And possibly podcast, as always, live here in the Twitch studio at an undisclosed location. You won't see much of me. I'm in the corner right here with my friend. I will tell you who this guy is in a few minutes. But just been amazing morning, amazing morning. I'm going to scoot next to you, because we are family over here. So
Definitely.
scoot closer to you. Maybe put the camera right here. Good morning. It's been an amazing morning. I was live with the Food Hoodie, the Hood Foodie, the Food Hoodie, live with that man just a few moments ago with Mr. Corona as well, from Corona, California, as well as the Profile Pod, which is the third or first, I forget which one it is, first or third podcast in all of Los Angeles. So literally the best podcast in Los Angeles. We were on live on Instagram with those guys, the Profile Pod. If you're not following him, follow the Profile Pod. If you're not following Mr. Corona, follow Mr. Corona as well. If you're not following the Hood Foodie, tell him the Hood Foodie sent you. Follow the Hood Foodie. He was on there as well. A bunch of people were in the chat this morning. It was crazy. Hopefully that some of those guys from Instagram jump over here as well and join the chat. Tilted Farmhouse was in the chat. Chops was in the chat. All kinds of people. Let me check out, make sure everything's coming up here. Make sure everything's doing and looking good. Let me see here. Yeah, everything's looking nice on the side, the back side. Yep. Good. If you are joining us, put it in the chat. We are live here this morning. I want to welcome everybody to the show. We have another amazing show for you this morning. Got a couple movies here. I'm going to show you guys a couple movies here. Spider-Man number 3. Classic, right?
Yeah.
Classic. The Snow Buddies. Good family movie.
Also classic.
Good family movie. Classic. Shrek the Third.
Nice.
Another good movie. The Imitation Game. This is a very interesting movie. It's a coding type game. If you're into like math and coding and stuff like that, this is an interesting
I've
movie.
heard good things about that one.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Courageous. This is a good Christian family movie as well. This is a good movie.
Nice.
All these movies, this man is not in any of them. Just so you know.
That's true.
But this is Al Gomez, the actor from Hollywood, California. My man, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
Sorry, my hand's a little clammy right now.
He's a little nervous. It's his first time. He's been on camera many times, but first time on Twitch camera.
Yeah.
So this is all new for him. New for you, right?
Yeah, no, definitely is. First time on a live show like this. So
fantastic. Well, you are going to be fantastic. It's just like when you were shooting for Oliver Stone. It's nothing different.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, Al, the actor from Hollywood, California. Al, what are some of the movies? Where have we seen you? Have we seen you anything?
Not yet. So I'm still on the grind. It is a marathon. But that's kind of like this thing called life, right? Nobody's path is kind of the same, and nowhere is that truer than in Hollywood. So still kind of trying to find my path.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. That's why I wanted to bring you on the show the other day. Me and Al were talking about that. We're talking about dreams. We're talking about, paths, of course. And the show today, The Path of Al Gomez. This is exactly what we're talking about. We, just like myself, I'm trying a freaking podcast. I'm 47 years old.
When it's never too late to get started.
Well, hopefully it's never too late. We're having a great time. We're doing it. We're meeting people. We're meeting people with passion, whether it's sculptors, whether it's, what's up, Ramon? What kind of work have we done? Oh, we're on the path, Ramon. So what we've just learned, if you're just joining us with Al Gomez live, the actor Susie Huerta. What's up, Susie?
What's up, everybody? Welcome
to Twitch. They are pretty fun. Yeah. Welcome to the show. We're here with Al Gomez. He is starting to be how old are you, Al?
31.
He's 31. He's still young.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be the next great actor. He's the next Al Pacino, the next Robert De Niro. Look at this man's face. This is an acting face.
Take it.
He was made to be in acting. But that's what we were talking about. We were talking about the past. I mean, how long you been trying to do this for?
Excuse me. I graduated in college from in 2014, so probably since then. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm amazed. Look at this face. You're telling me that Hollywood hasn't put this face on television or movies? This is incredible. I can't even believe you haven't been on anything yet.
Just some small commercials, small student projects, things like that. But I have an agent. I have two. So shout out to my agent, my commercial agents, Dory at Firestarter FSE, and my manager Steven with Ad Astra Management.
There you go. Well, Steven and Dory.
Dory, FSE commercial agency, kind of a boutique agency. Really, really great stuff that they're doing there. And then Steven at Astra.
Nice. Dory and Steven, you guys come on the show and talk about how you book these actors, how you get them gigs and stuff like that. Come on the show. Don't be afraid to come on Race Waves.
Yeah.
Get on Twitch live stream with us. It'll be awesome. That's crazy, dude. So you've been, and it is a marathon. It's like this podcast. Like everybody's like, so you made $1 million yet? I'm like, no, I haven't even made $5 yet. I just started February of this year.
Yeah.
Like it's a marathon, number one. And I haven't been doing it that long. So it takes time. It takes time to break through. There's so much to get through because there's so much to absorb on your phone, right? There's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's podcasts. And now the actors are getting into a podcast. I was just talking to a friend that produces podcasts, and he's like, yeah, there's so many podcasts. It's like there's something that you have to do to get like kind of stick out. It's got to be like great content. It's got to be a good show. It's got to be entertaining, educational, something that pops. Because I mean, even Kevin Hart has a podcast. Like, and I mentioned that because Kevin Hart is an actor. He's a great actor. People know those faces. People know, Kevin Hart. They know that face, but at one time they didn't.
Right.
So that's an encouragement to you and to me that people didn't always know who Kevin Hart was.
Right.
People may have known The Rock as an actor, as not an actor. They didn't know him as an actor before. They knew him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
He was a wrestler, great wrestler, champ. the people's champ. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure there's people that don't even know about his wrestling career. I'm sure there's fans.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. There's fans that actually only know that he's this great actor. He's been on, Fast and the Furious. He's been on all these movies. He's been on the Jungle Cruise movie. He's been on all these movies. They are fans of his work as an actor. And by the way, put it in the chat if you agree with me. He wasn't always the greatest actor, right?
Right.
It took him time to kind of get his feet wet, kind of get the skills together. Now I think he's incredible.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I think he's gonna win an Oscar one day. You heard it here first. Yeah, I think so.
Calling an Oscar.
He's gonna do some kind of role, and he's gonna get cast, and people are gonna, support it. I think people love The Rock already, but he's gonna win an Oscar for sure.
Yeah, I think just seems like a great person. If you look at the way he treats people, the way he is on set with people, and if you see him on TV signing autographs for fans and stuff, just seems like a really great guy. Number one, and then he's also, like I said, I think and I don't know the story behind it. Rock, if you want to come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did. He definitely must have did his homework or studied with somebody or did something, because I see the progression and it just gets better and better and better. And I think you're right about the Oscar thing, because Will Smith, before slapping people, he was a rapper.
Yeah.
And then he got into television, and then he got the Oscar. So it can happen.
Yeah. I actually read his Will Smith's autobiography. Will, really, really great. I didn't know all the things about his past, like you said, the music. I hadn't known about it, but I didn't know he was the first rap artist to win the first ever Grammy for that category.
No way.
Yeah.
He was the first ever rap artist to win a Grammy for rap.
Yeah,
that's
because
crazy.
They didn't have that category before, and then they kind of created it. And then the first year they were going to do it, he said in the book that they weren't going to televise it, and so the rappers at that time, they boycotted the Grammys, and so he didn't even go because they were just going to give it to him during a commercial intermission.
What? He didn't even go. So he won the thing.
He won, yeah.
But he didn't show up because they were going to do it like
they were boycotting, because they were just like, we can't promote this on air.
We can't promote gangster rap on air.
This genre, yeah.
Can you imagine, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't imagine a world right now without rap. Like,
No,
like
exactly.
rap is everywhere. Rap is everywhere.
Yeah. I think, I listen to a lot of rap. I have kind of my top 5 favorite. But I think with rap, with any kind of art, with podcasting, it's kind of what you talk about, taking your passion and sharing it with others. And I think great art is what is relatable to people, something that they can relate to. Yeah, and that's one thing that I found with hip hop and rap is what they talk about. Although I can't relate to it, I can some of the stuff I can't relate to. I can understand the emotions that they felt in those moments, or moments in my life that I relate to, and that's what draws me in.
Sure. Susie says that her uncle used to work with The Rock, so, and he was totally humble. So yes, Susie knows. So I think what I think it's right what Al's talking about. It's like the ones that really stick out, like the ones that like lasts or stand the test of time. It's the type of actor that's like humble, like Susie's saying there. Number one, they're a great personality. They obviously are great at their craft. And his GF, is that girlfriend? It was GF. My uncle GF worked with him. Oh, my uncle's girlfriend worked with him. Okay, cool. That's nice. That's awesome, Susie. So yeah, I think it's the people that you can kind of relate to, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things you could say is maybe, and I think this is correct, a lot of rappers like Ice Cube, Will Smith, a lot of these guys, Ice-T, who's in television as well, a lot of these guys are heavily relatable. Their songs tell brilliant stories, and some of them maybe you some of them you may hope that you never experience the situations that some of these guys have gotten into. Some of the situations you do or have been in those situations, and you do relate to them. Number one, it's these guys that have been through things, right? And so when they get on television, when they get in front of a camera, you can relate to them because that realness shoots through the camera and you can immediately connect with them, right?
Yeah.
And so that's that thing with these with Will Smith, with Ice Cube. Me and my son have been watching every time he comes over, we've been watching one of the Friday movies. So Friday, then Friday After Next, and Friday whatever, Christmas. I don't know. I forgot what the third one is, but we've been just cracking up watching Friday. I haven't seen that movie in a bit. So watching Friday again was like watching it the first time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's funny you bring it up because I just watched it like a week ago. The
Did
first
you?
one.
So you were probably watching it at the same time we were watching. Dude.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's such a classic movie.
Oh, dude.
And I think he wrote that. He wrote
that movie.
He wrote the screenplay. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote the thing about it, if you watch Straight Outta Compton, you learn from that movie, number one, that he wrote a lot of the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So he wrote most of Eazy-E's lyrics for sure, and a lot of the guys' lyrics, and he's a writer.
Yeah.
So he can write screenplays. He's wrote many. There it is. There, Morono's next Friday before. I knew there was a Christmas one. Friday before Christmas. Friday is the new Saturday. Is there that many of them?
I don't know. Actually, I know there's Friday, next Friday, and then Friday After Next, or like the original trilogy.
Love all Friday movies.
Yeah, there could be a spinoff
awesome.
that I'm not aware of though.
The ones that went through it in life are the ones that I feel are the most successful in acting more like anything because they know what they've been through in life. 100%. Good. Exactly. Great comment, Susie. They have been through it. So there's no better authority in those situations. And if you combine that with a great writer like Ice Cube or any other writer who's writing on the set, and somebody that can write out that scene and then these real actors, and when I say real, I mean I'm not in the sense of like theater actors. I'm talking about guys, they may not even have to act because it's so real to them. They've actually been through it.
Yeah.
So there's one scene in The Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know if you remember the scene where Prince's so Will Smith's dad comes back, his real dad.
Yeah.
And he plays like he kind of wants to hang out with him for a while, and Will Smith's all hyped up and happy about it, and then he even treats his stepdad a little rough because he's like, my dad's back, blah 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 blah, and then at the end of it,
I think he calls him Lou too. He doesn't even call him Dad.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And then, but at the end of it, the dad ends up taking off again, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then there was this moment between Will Smith and who was the stepdad's name again?
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
James Avery. I think.
James Avery.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Oh yeah, he passed away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rest in peace, Mr. Avery. There was that moment when he was like, Will Smith was like, why doesn't my dad want me?
Yeah.
Like in the way, but he's like, not just the way I said it, the way he said it.
Yeah.
Like the pain in his face, the pain in his body language, and the tears and the way he said it, you could feel it through the screen.
Yeah.
You remember that scene?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a powerful scene from that.
Very powerful scene. Yeah. Very powerful scene. And you could feel it through that. So I think that we're benefiting from in this era, we're benefiting from the new real actor.
Yeah.
There is, and I love theater acting, by the way.
Yeah.
I love the craft of acting. I could probably never do what they do when and all of them, most of them even probably take little side classes, I'm sure. We've been to theaters before here in LA, and we went to the School of the Arts a while back, and we saw a play there, and the time and the effort that they put into it. I'm sure you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
We'll talk on that. What are some of the things that you try to get prepared for if you're trying to be an actor?
Yeah. You're always working on that craft, kind of like an athlete, how our martial artist, you have to keep kind of drilling, memorizing lines. There's technical sides of it too for the film industry, because it is a different medium than the theater, because you are capturing stuff on camera. So there are technical things like, where's my eye line for an audition? Where am I going to look? Kind of little things like that.
Yeah, like this would be a horrible camera shot, right? When there was a
yeah, you'd want to be a little closer, and like I wouldn't want to be looking down the whole time, because then
we're not talking to you. You got to talk more to the camera.
Talking to the camera, and then you would want to put your eyesight a little off camera. But I think the essence of really, really great acting and what really great actors do is, regardless of the circumstances of the script, they bring themselves to the role. And that's what I've really loved about acting, especially during COVID, where there wasn't a lot going on. And it was just a lot of introspection for myself of what is it that Al brings that no other actor can bring, and really being at peace with that, like we talked about The Rock or Ice Cube. Like, I can't be those guys, not only physically, because I'm not like 6'4" and
we're not buff.
Yeah. And, I didn't grow up in Compton, like Ice Cube did, but what is it? What is my experience, and what can I bring to a different role? And that's what I think makes great actors and actresses, is they're bringing themselves regardless of the circumstances. Because one of my teachers said that acting is kind of like being a magician.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was so a magician doesn't reveal the secrets. You don't see the sleight of hand. You don't see the things behind the scenes. And you don't know if the magician is messing up on stage. If he holds his hat wrong or messes up on a card, the show must go on. So what they're seeing in the film is kind of that finished product. So we don't see the little bloopers. Sometimes they attach the bloopers, and that's, I think, what's so interesting about theater is it's live and it's always changing. So that's where the two mediums kind of are different. But at the end of the day, you have lighting people, you have wardrobe people, you have special effects and makeup that give you those different effects. Like, go watch any movie, and anytime during the emotional scenes, there's probably heightened music on in the background, and the lighting is just right. So those are the little tricks that, amplify a performance. But at the end of the day, you have to bring yourself to that role, and you have to connect with it in some capacity. And that's why I think sometimes people, when they play villains, nobody can relate to a villain. Hopefully not, right? Like some kind of period piece. But if you can, like the new, I think there's a new Dahmer series on Netflix with Evan Peters.
Oh damn!
But he wasn't. I think it's getting a lot of flack actually because of the story and the families having to relive it again. But he obviously wasn't like Jeffrey Dahmer. But how does an actor connect to that? You have to bring yourself to that role in some capacity.
Wow. Yeah, I think you say that they don't relate, but they're in some ways, like a lot of people sometimes they do relate too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though you're not like eating people's body, like you're not eating body parts or something like that.
Right.
There's like weird thoughts that you may have had or whatnot. So maybe they draw from that, like, like so somehow they have to draw like that. That is hard. Like,
yeah. And so that's kind of where that imagination comes in. It is art. I think, acting is one of those crazy things where it's in the moment, like music and painting and photography, those things are, I feel, not as in the public, it's kind of like created and it's curated and it's worked on with acting, especially in theater, like, hey, you're creating in this moment. That's why, if you go to a performance that's a live theater performance is different. Even at concerts, you go to a music concert and then you hear the song, you're like, why does that sound different? It's because it's totally different. It's not altered. It's not in a studio. The person's actually singing, or, sometimes the artist may actually change their deliverance and cadence because who knows, they're feeling creative and like, how can I make this art that I'm known for a little different for the audience? Or, of course they're not going to go and change a classic song, but it is, I remember the first time ever going to a concert, I'm like, whoa, this sounds completely different than what I heard on, the CD or, Apple Music.
Yeah, so there's like that's cool. So they're kind of, because with music, I used to play music and stuff like that on the stage. So it's kind of like you're like you have stuff recorded, and then when you're on stage, it's kind of like you can jam or kind of stretch it a little bit. That's kind of cool. Like what you're talking about on theater, they kind of do the same thing. They have the script, they've rehearsed, they can, they do all the lines, they do all the blocking is the word I was looking for. Thank you for that.
Yeah, blocking cues.
Yeah. So they have all that, and then once they kind of know, it's almost like sometimes I knew a couple of people that were in theater, and like the fifth day they would be like, okay, we kind of know the show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like loosen up a little bit and have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
The first day is kind of like super nerves, super scary. You don't know what's going to happen. But I like what you said earlier, that the people that are watching the show, whether it's a theater or a movie, they don't know that there's any nerves. That's one thing to learn that you're just teaching me right now, is like when you're performing or when you're about to perform and you think you're nervous, like the people they don't know that.
Yeah. They don't know what's going to happen. I mean, of course, if you're a musician and you miss a note and it's off tune, or if you skip a lyric, then people are going to say, oh, but nobody's going to say, hey, stop the show. Like he didn't say the one word, or he, so you got to work through it. And that's where, that's what I love about acting and film and improv, improvisation in theater. That's another great form of training, I think, not only for acting, but
improv. Yeah, dude, that's even more, that's even harder because there's really no lines. You're just like improvising off each other like we're doing right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a lot of fun though. I would highly recommend improv for anyone, just because there's so many life lessons that you can learn. And, one of the first rules of improv is yes and. No matter what you're given, you have to say yes and in that scene, because you want to propel it forward. So if you're given something in life that's bad or good, yes and, how do I move
it forward?
And then another rule of improv is connect with your scene partner. You can't, like how we're doing this interview, like we look at each other, we're listening to each other.
Right.
Oh, you said this, that was interesting. I can't just like not look at you and turn away from you and think, oh, I'm going to say this, because then there's no connection.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. That's crazy. Yeah, improv is a beast. I remember I was part of a improv group when I was young.
Oh, nice.
And I was but I was not an actor. There was acting going down.
Okay.
But I was the guitar, so I put on the music.
Oh, nice.
That's
tough though. You got to create the,
Well, it wasn't the movie. It was not. It was definitely not the music for the show, but it was like you would have to be at this party where they were doing improv.
Yeah.
And there's this improv that's about to go down, but you have to entertain the crowd with music before everything starts.
Yeah.
So like I'd have to play guitar, sing my songs while people were getting their drink on, getting loosened up, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Party's getting going, drinks are clinging, the music's happening. And then the main guy would come on and they would start doing their thing.
Nice.
So like that was my job to kind of like play the music before the show.
Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a tough gig too. I would imagine did you play original songs or
all original, bro?
Okay.
Yeah. So no Creedence Clearwater. I didn't play Beatles.
So no covers.
No covers.
Oh,
that was the hard part.
Yeah.
Because it was like they'd have to kind of like you're talking about relating. They'd have to relate to my songs.
Right.
They don't know me from Jack. I wasn't on TV. I wasn't on MTV at the time. There was no Spotify.
Right.
I was just playing original songs that I wrote.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
And I'm sure at the time, like if you're playing a song, you probably had to gauge the audience. Like, let me transition to this song next or something. Or I was going to play this one next. You know what? That they like this one. I'm going to go to this one instead.
Yeah. It's difficult because there's such a mixed crowd.
Yeah.
There's, first of all, there's actors and you know, they're into acting and they I don't know if you've been in a lot of theater too, like dinner.
Not a whole bunch, but a little bit, you know,
yeah,
here and there. Like at school, I did some plays and then did some plays outside of it. But you know, I'm trying to transition more into the film.
That's all. Like a lot of theater people, they'd be like ready to jump in, like anytime they're ready to go. Like they're ready to like, they're always on. I guess with they're always like on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, I think with theater, a lot of it is a lot of musical numbers, you know, a lot of musical plays.
Yeah.
So those
it's always musicals.
Yeah, those are the big ones, like at the Pantages, or you know, I haven't been to Broadway, but a lot of those Broadway musicals that come out over here, they're musicals, and so I've never. That's something that scares me. I would love to audition for a musical. Like probably.
You can see you rap too. He's a rapper, by the way.
Yeah.
I just put it out there, raceflames.com.
I'm working on that. But yeah, I don't know if I'm a singer. I love doing karaoke though. You know, get me.
Oh, there you go.
You know, as soon as a karaoke bar, like I'll be the first one to sign up.
Boom.
But yeah, no, I created some rap songs. The first one I did actually was kind of like a comedic skit, kind of like Little Dicky vibes, kind of about Monday and how everybody hates him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I made a music video about it.
Hell yeah. Where do you see this at? Where is this, on Instagram or YouTube?
You know what? It's on, if you go to my Instagram, Al Gomez, ALGOMEZ 310. That's my Instagram. And then there's a link in my YouTube link in my bio. My YouTube page isn't really that popping right now. Still working. Like I said,
YouTube's a beast. It's a marathon, big time. Talk about a marathon. Jesus, YouTube's a beast.
But yeah, so I created that song with a buddy of mine. You know, just it all kind of started with he had a 98 stick shift Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, 98 Cherokee, and he was selling it. And I was like, dude, I just have this visual for whatever reason of you just like ghost riding your Cherokee. And that kind of became the catalyst to get this music video kind of started and created.
Hell yeah.
And then you know,
is that this video right here?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, crazy. Let me try to show the audience. Let me try to show the audience.
Yeah, it's a silly, you know, there's some stuff that's questionable in terms of appropriateness. Nothing too bad, but you know, there's some blow up dolls in there.
Blow up dolls. That's what's the thing with blow up things? Like Jeremy the actor was on the show too, and he was talking about being pumped or blowing up or something like that. There's all kinds of crazy stuff.
I don't know.
Let me see. Present. Oh, present. Here we go. Share screen. Chrome. Right here.
And then after during this song too, I made a rap for my wife at our wedding. I surprised her with the wedding rap.
It's Monday,
some of the language.
Nice. There it is.
Monday, take me back.
So it's a full-on hip-hop video, full-on hip-hop in the hood, always at a barbershop, a pop-up barbershop in your porch.
Yeah, that's my patio right there.
It's totally legit. That's a rap video right there.
Yeah,
that's a rap video.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The girls are coming up right here.
The girls are coming up too. We'll leave before that.
There we go.
Before this is a family show.
Okay, there we go.
Well, we brought in the rap. Do you see that? That was a legit rap video with Al Gomez, starring Al Gomez with some of his rap. You got to get it on Spotify, dude. Get that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think
cop the album.
The clearance for some of the stuff. That's probably what it is. Because I think I sampled Monday again. I think it's by Nat King Cole or some. It's a big artist.
Oh, a Nat King Cole song?
I think it's Nat King Cole. I'm blanking on who it's by right now, but I think it might be by him. It's called Monday.
Dang, that's crazy.
So I don't know, getting the rights for that,
Yep, you have to get the rights, exactly. Get the license. That's the tough part. You're gonna have to like get a deal with Dr. Dre and have him just pay all the licensees.
There we go.
There you
go. Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, if you're out there, Al Gomez needs a he needs to get signed so that way you saw the quality right there. You saw him in the ghetto at the barbershop in the front porch getting his hair did.
That was all in my apartment right there.
That was all the apartment. That was straight in the ghetto. That was where we won't say exactly where that is, but it's like in Culver City or something. Culver City, where my mom's from. It don't get no more gangster than that. I'm telling you, my mom is a hardcore gangster. She's Culver City gangster. Those girls. We were out with all of them last Friday. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no. When we had the services for your grandma,
great grandma.
Great grandma. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Beatrice. Crazy. But those girls get wild, man. We were all never party with your parents. They can stay out when you get my age. It's too much of a risk. They stay out late and they keep us out late. I can't stay out that late. My bedtime is like 7. And my mom will go stay out till 11 o'clock. So you got to make sure get your parents in the car quickly and leave promptly because you'll be out there all night. Just a little tip for those of you that are watching your
parents.
Especially
at family gatherings.
Once a year. Holy crap! In somewhere near Hawthorne or Culver City.
Yeah, the old stomping grounds.
Where the gangster ladies hang out. That's it. So we're going back to rap. We're going back to that stuff. We're talking about. If you're just joining us, we're with Al Gomez, the actor, live here on Twitch, talking about the path of the, whatever your passion is. My show's about passion. Like I said earlier, we had sculptors on the show. We've had painters on the show, cooks, of course, because I love to eat. Everything in the theme of passion. So whatever your passion is, that's what we like to have on the show. Al's passion is acting, and he's in a path where he's going down, and we're talking about this. He's starting to get older. You're 31, you said?
31, yeah.
31. We were talking about how you're still young. Whoa, excuse me. Never do that on podcast. Never burp on a podcast. You're still young, but you have this moment where you're like, I love acting. You obviously love it. Mm-hmm. You enjoy it. It's your passion, but you're like, yeah, I'm getting older. I don't know if you use those words exactly, but you told me when we were talking, you're like, I'm getting older and I'm thinking about other paths. So you're on this path, you're kind of on this crossroads.
Yeah.
Do I continue on the acting road or do I move on a different path? What was it that made that kind of thought come into your head at that time?
Going back to COVID again, just kind of like that soul searching is like, what is it that I want to do with my life? Right. What is it that's going to give me the most meaning? And so, I mean, I do love acting. I don't know if that's going to be it. I'm still grinding it out, still trying to, I can always be doing more. I need to do more, like creating like the rap video, creating my own content. But, I know I want to help people in some regards. So, I'm thinking about maybe making a pivot. And that's the thing, too. I think that business is always going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Who's to say that I can't go and come back?
Well, there's no age limit at for sure, right?
Exactly.
So right now you could be the handsome actor one, the main character. But when you turn like 56, you could be like the old man in front of the liquor store.
Yeah.
You could play both parts.
Yeah, and and that's another thing. Like before, I was like acting. I have to do acting. I was with my girl, who's now my wife.
Awesome.
Shout out to my wife. I love you.
There you go.
But like she wanted. It was I think like 2017. We had just moved into our place together. I had the quote unquote big boy day job. Salary.
What was the job?
I was actually working as a bone marrow recruiter for Be the Match. So
what?
Yeah.
Do you find cadavers on the street, or how does that
actually
bone marrow?
Yeah. So
what did you call that again?
Bone marrow recruiter.
Bone marrow recruiter.
Yeah. So
you find people. You tell the story, but do you find people that are about to die?
No. So what happens is people are diagnosed with the blood cancer, leukemia, lymphoma.
Oh wow!
And a lot of times for patients, their only chance to survive is a bone marrow transplant. So bone marrow is something we all have. All of our large bones in our body, inside of the core of the bone, that's where our white blood cells, our red blood cells, all of that stuff that's in our blood that keeps us alive is created.
Ooh, in the bone marrow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there you go. Sometimes you need a donor because a lot of the times you won't have somebody in your family. You think that you're going to have a match in your family, but because you're half your mom, half your dad, you're never going to have a full 100% match.
Oh, so it's rare to have a match because the parents are, both different gene types and stuff like that.
Right. And then it gets complex too if the parents are of different ethnicities.
Ooh.
So that's why, we were always encouraging people, if you're listening today, join Be the Match registry. Is free to join. I've been on it since 2009. I haven't been called once, but the likelihood of me donating is probably not that high now that I'm older. But I could only donate to somebody that has my exact genetic makeup as well. So they'd have to be Latino. And, I did the ancestry and I forget the other one. 23andMe, I did those and got my breakdown, and it was so mixed and so varied that, it's really hard to find a match. But
what's the website?
Be the Match.
Be the Match.
BeTheMatch.org. Yeah.
Put it into the stream, BeTheMatch.org. Sign up to be a match. If somebody's suffering from cancer right now, you might be the match. You might literally be the match. Go to BeTheMatch.org and find out if you're a match. How do they take a piece?
No,
a sample?
It's actually just a mouth swab.
Mouth swab,
yeah.
Easy mouth swab.
Yeah, and then now the technology. Now it's basically like donating blood platelets or plasma.
Oh,
that's kind of the process.
So they're just taking your plasma.
They are taking those blood stem cells.
Oh, okay.
It does become the bone marrow. Yeah, the primary method of donation, it looks like it's called a peripheral blood stem cell, PBSC. And for a small percentage, they still do actually have to go into like probably the hip or and extract the bone marrow that way. But that's
for the most part, it's just like being blood drawn or something like that.
Yeah, it does take a few hours. It's probably about 6, 7, 8 hour process.
But for 8 hours, you're doing that and you're saving somebody's life.
Yeah.
Because if they have cancer, like that's the thing that they need.
Yeah, and cancer doesn't discriminate against age, race, gender. So we had patients that were kids. We had patients that, I had a patient that it was sad. She was she was from South Bay San Pedro.
Oh my gosh!
And she was
how old is she?
She passed away.
She passed away.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But her story kind of went viral. She was pregnant with twins throughout her chemo treatment. Her name was Susie.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So you were trying to find a match, and you just couldn't find a match for her, or?
So they found a match, not in the United States. I think they found a match. A lot of it, they have to keep everything private. So I never got all the details, but I think it was someone, I think in South America, and then they donated. She got the transplant. It took at first, but then it is still a very complicated process. So there were complications, and the cancer came back.
Jeez. Yeah. So it's even more important if you're out there to go to BeTheMatch.org just to get the numbers. I think it's sometimes a numbers game, right? Trying to find the matches.
It definitely is. I mean, hopefully one day they find the technology to where they won't need a complete unrelated donor. But right now, that's kind of like the last resort. And mind you, this was back in, I left right before the pandemic, 2020. So I think, I don't know the latest, I'm not versed on the latest, things, but when I was there, it was, that's still the main method. But,
wow. So what was your job to like find people? Or well, you worked for the website basically?
So I was a recruiter. I worked for City of Hope National Medical Center in
Nice.
kind of like Pasadena. I forget the exact Duarte. That's where it's at.
Duarte.
Off the 210.
That's close by.
Yeah.
This undisclosed area that we are in right now. That's very close to us.
But yeah, so I was a recruiter. I would go a lot of times. We would try and connect with college campuses and college students, vocational, like charter, UEI, all these schools that had these, young, healthy possible donors that were pursuing, higher education or the medical field or some kind of patient care. And
so you want donors that are young, basically healthy.
Yeah, it's just for the sake of the patient.
Sure.
It's a healthier, less risky procedure. Because the longer we live, the more our immune system has been through and things like that. So they wouldn't I forget the exact age. I think by 60 or 65, you age off of the registry.
65.
But even then, if they had a 60-year-old donor versus a 30-year-old donor, chances are they would prefer the
younger one,
the 30-year-old donor. Not to be ageist or anything.
No, but something can go wrong if they already have problems, and then you use that bone marrow to put in somebody else. Then there's
and then
complications.
Unfortunately, in today's day, as you get older, there's these cancers and different health risks that pose problems. So
wow. So do you think that, so you're doing that and are you still doing that right now?
No. So I kind of work as a caregiver with someone with special needs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so going back to kind of what, so I was talking about acting. I got the job, right? We were living, and then my girlfriend, my wife now, wanted to go travel to Europe.
Ooh.
And, I was like, I don't know if I can afford that. I'd rather spend the money. I'd rather spend the money on acting classes and headshots and this. And
Has she ever heard of Montana? That's a nice place too. She wanted to right to Europe.
Yeah. I think.
Let me ask you, how fast did she, when did you get married?
2021.
2021.
Last year.
Was this when you guys were married that she asked you that, or before?
This was before.
Before, okay.
Yeah. This was in 20.
So she hadn't even locked it in yet. And she was already taking you to Europe. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's a good one.
So
what's her name?
Her name's Daryl.
Daryl. Shout out to Daryl.
Daryl Berry. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. So, I was like, I got to spend my money on this. I can't do this. I'd rather stay in acting. But then I thought, and I was like, you know what? This is a life experience. This is something that my parents, my grandma, my immediate family never got the chance to do.
No, Grace Flays hasn't been to Europe. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah. So, I decided, I was like, you know what, let's just go. And it was those kind of like life moments that, you can't put your life on hold for something. Like some people do, and that's for them. But like talking about the marathon and different paces and different things, that was for me. And like, I think it's made me a better actor because I went on that trip. And seeing,
crazy. Experience,
seeing Spain and seeing France and being, going into the Sagrada Familia, that.
So what is that for Sagrada Familia?
It's this huge basilica. It's like a church.
It's a church, right? Basically.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually do churches, but it's a huge tourist attraction in Spain, and just the architecture is so beautiful and
Is it like a Roman Catholic kind of church?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot now.
Google it. What's it called?
Sagrada Familia.
Sagrada Familia. Google it. Find out what it is. Put it in the chat. What is Sagrada Familia? Who's been there? Crystal Glitterbig. Who's been there?
Yeah, it's a huge. But just being there and seeing that now, going back to the acting thing. If there's maybe something I don't relate to with the character per se, whether let's say it's getting married to somebody who. Whatever, if that's the circumstances of the script, maybe I don't have that connection of getting married at this venue or this and this, but I can draw on my experience of like walking into that Sagrada Familia and looking up and seeing the architecture, and letting and that's the magic trick of acting is the camera is capturing me reliving that moment of being in the chapel, but under the imaginary circumstances. It's the wedding, or whatever the script is calling it to be.
Right. So
that's where I was like, you know what, this made me such a better actor because I can draw on these life experiences. I didn't put my life on hold. For the longest time, I was like, if I don't make it as an actor by 30, what am I doing with my life?
Right. But you maybe you need those life experiences. We've been talking about this with Al Gomez here for the last 45 minutes. How rappers have that are somehow become these great actors. Ice Cube, Will Smith, the wrestler The Rock. It's these experiences that they have, and you're adding almost to a pouch or a little treasure chest in your mind.
Exactly.
A toolkit. You just need. It's not that maybe you're just not ready because you haven't had those experiences.
Right.
So you start to go to Europe, you start to experience life, and then man, I don't know. I feel this thing right now with you that I think that like you need to live life, and then acting's going to find you.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I'm at right now of like, I'm not necessarily giving up. It's just on my time. It'll happen whether, and who's to say, who's to say what being a success is, you know what I mean? Being successful, I think is subjective to each person.
No, 100%.
I consider myself an actor because a working actor, I booked my first commercial and that paycheck allowed me to buy my wife's ring.
Oh, damn.
So I'm like, hey, I'm an actor.
And rings are expensive. They're not cheap. So that was a good gig.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was like worried and, how am I going to save up for it? And then boom, I booked a commercial, kind of just not thinking I was going to book it. I booked it. And, I was like, you know what?
Paid for the ring.
Yeah.
That's crazy because Nephew Jeremy's, who's often on the show, Nephew Jeremy's an actor from Orange County. And I like this guy, I was telling you about him, how he's like a working actor. Like he's not like, or I think he's like in some part of he's obviously trying to get to Hollywood. Everybody's trying to get to Hollywood, but for him, he's like a daily actor. Like it's like a plumber or a carpenter. He's going to, this is one thing I learned about from Jeremy is like his hustle, his work ethic. He's like, you got to show up. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I got this gig like in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know who these freaking college directors are. He's like, but I show up, I get $300. Yeah. I get $500 here, I get $300 here, and he takes them all.
Yeah,
and he makes that's what he is literally like. If you talk to him right now, you'll ask him, well, what is your day job? He doesn't have a day job. Like his job is just acting. Like he literally is an actor. Like he goes to different shoots. It may not be Spielberg, it may not be Oliver Stone, but it's some teenager who's trying to be the next Spielberg on YouTube or something. Yeah. And they've got the budget. Yeah. And so they've got lights, they've got cameramen, they're paying the actors, $300. I'm down, dude. I was like, I need to get into that. I need to make some $300 for the day to do that. That's crazy. So it's like you can do that as a gig. Sometimes I think, and for you, I think it's going to be Hollywood, but I think some people don't realize, that actors make good money. Like Mr. Corona saying, how working actors make good money as long as you work it. Yeah. You don't turn anything down. Yeah, exactly. Unless like nudity or something, like you're gonna have you don't want to do that.
You have to have your standards.
But unless you're unless you have an amazing physique like Mr. Corona. Mr. Corona has an amazing physique, so he might want to get into that. But you, my friend, you've got the face. You should be in a motion picture for Sony Paramount, stuff like that. But it's cool that you're having the experience. What I liked about earlier when I asked you, what was that moment? What was that crossroads moment when you were like, do I continue the acting or I don't? I thought you were going to say, well, I got married and now I've got to pay, I've got a apartment and I've got to get to the real, that would have been my answer. But for you, you said I wanted to do something that was meaningful. Or had a purpose. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Where do you think that you seem to be doing things like that. You're doing the bone marrow thing. You're now a caregiver for somebody with disabilities. Have you always been kind of like in that realm of like trying to help people, or where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I think so. I'm the oldest sibling of four now.
Nice.
Yeah. It was my younger brother and my younger sister growing up. And then now my mom has the youngest, who's now he just turned
AJ.
Yeah, AJ just turned 4. Yeah, I can't. I'm like,
I almost had AJ on the show a while back, but my son got COVID. His mom has an amazing son, an amazing younger son who has a disability, and she was going to come on the show and talk about that. And my son got COVID, so I couldn't do it. But we're going to get her back pretty soon. So be on the lookout for Andrea. She'll be on the show with AJ. He's a great kid.
Yeah. So I've always kind of been in that older sibling role. My parents. Growing up, it wasn't the worst, but I do remember fighting and things like that, and so I was always kind of in that role of being the role model or trying to be a role model for my siblings, and my parents divorced, and that wasn't the prettiest thing either, and I think just always just feeling nervous or scared or whatever. I don't really remember how I felt back then, angry. But I think having those feelings so young, like it just kind of helped me to empathize with other people, and then even now, like, for my high school, we had to do a service project. I volunteered at the place closest to me. It was a special needs school, not realizing that it was going to make such a huge impact on my life, because it was just like this whole community of children and parents but I try and I'm not perfect, but I try and live my life in a way of like, you never know what anyone ever is going through. And I think being in this particular community, in this type of work too, has created so much empathy and patience and understanding for me that now, like, if somebody's rude or even if somebody cusses at me on the road, like, it's just like I'm not really fazed by it, because I've experienced it and heard it so much that hey, who knows, what maybe somebody that they love died, maybe they're got a diagnosis. I go to these places, and I think that's what also makes great acting and great art is sharing those vulnerabilities of yourself with others, being aware of it and sharing it. And I think the world needs more of that vulnerability.
That's crazy, dude. So as we're talking along here with Al Gomez, the past 52 minutes, we're wondering if and we're talking about the path of Al Gomez, and we're talking about acting. We're wondering, as we're talking, we're wondering, like, well, is it the experience that he kind of needs? And as we're talking along here, we're really discovering that Al does have this experience, that you do have that experience, bro, that you have these moments in your childhood where, for good or for not, arguing for loud thing, the things that we go, everybody has a crazy family. Nobody's family is perfect, whatnot. Those things. And then you start to deal with disabled children that don't even know, need a lot more help than other kids. Mm-hmm. They need, talk about empathy. We talk about empathy all the time on the show, but when somebody's disabled like that, it takes a lot more heart. It takes a lot more empathy. It takes a lot more patience, something I don't have. And so it's a tribute to what you do. We had TWS Sports on the show the other day as well. They're a podcast in England with all autistic children.
Oh, wow.
That do the show. They're the person that does what I do, which I think is completely hard. It's crazy because I have a family, I have a day job, and doing all this electronics and everything. They do it, and they're autistic children, and they do it well. And they actually have won awards for their podcast in Europe, and they've actually had Kurt Angle on the show, the wrestler. Nice. They've had top soccer players on the show, top cricket players on the show. They do an amazing job. And the guy Adam Middlechip, the teacher who facilitates all this, he has so much patience. He's a lot like you, where his parents grew up with teaching disabled children. Now he's into it. He loves it. He's had a couple jobs doing it. Now he's teaching at the high school. He came up with this idea to do a podcast with all autistic children, which is an amazing idea, by the way. Yeah. And highly successful podcast, as I mentioned. But people like you are a godsend, because the type of patience that you have to do that, I have an 8-year-old. To tell him to do his homework. It drives me crazy. But can you imagine somebody who has a disability or doesn't really understand what you're saying at all?
Right.
I mean, that must be tough.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's, when the kids come in, for myself, meaning, I think I don't think anything will prepare you for being a parent until you're a parent.
Oh no.
But I think I have a little bit of skills in terms of the understanding and the patience. But I'm not saying it's gonna be
yeah.
easy.
You know what? You're right. A lot of people that don't have kids will be like, "Oh, if I was a parent, I would do this, I would do that," and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But you, I think you would have I would respect more what you say, even though you don't have kids. I would respect more what you say because you've dealt with disabled children or disabled. I would have more respect. Like if you said like, "Well, I wouldn't do that," I would actually have more. I would actually listen to you probably more than some like moron who's like, "Hey, you're fine," because what always ends up happening is everybody and parents out there, this, put it in the chat. This. You were like, "Oh, when I have kids, I'm going to do this." When that kid comes out and that love that you have, that unconditional love that happened, that connection that you have, that everything goes out the window. All the psychology, all the freaking books you read, it goes out the window because you have this like connection to your kids. It's just so intense. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy. That's dope, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So what are you, so right now you're working, you're working with that nonprofit right now?
Which
are you working for, what is your, like you're acting, right? But you've got a day gig right now?
Yeah. So that's the caregiver.
The caregiver.
Yeah.
The caregiver. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're working this caregiver and you're doing that. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And then you have this experience, you have all this experience, the life experiences that you're having. What have, since we last talked, what do you think, what have you come to? Have you come to a conclusion? Where do you think it's going? What do you feel like what direction do you think it's going in?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I think I'm going to apply to some schools for, I'm interested in the marriage and family therapy route.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there's things you can do with theater with that. You can get it like a drama certification. You're using drama as a form of therapy.
What?
Yeah.
So you go to school for therapy, but they have an acting section or something?
Well, I think you'd have to get the license first, like the MFT degree, the license, and then you can get a certificate. I'm still trying to figure that out, but you could use that as a form of therapy. But and then like I said, who's to say that I can't come? The program would only be like 2-3 years. Who's to say I can't come back and write a screenplay about some of the patients? Of course, I'd have to change the stuff.
Oh yeah, you might want to change the names.
Yeah.
Don't get sued.
Yeah, exactly. But so I'm still submitting. I'm still auditioning. Actually on the way over, I got an audition notification, so I gotta go film something. I can't really probably talk about it. But,
nice. He's filming Platoon Part 3. I'll let you guys know. Platoon Part 3 coming out soon.
Netflix.
Netflix on Netflix.
But yeah, so I'm still getting auditions. I'm self-submitting, but I think for any artist out there, like if I could go back and give my younger self, I'm still 31, still young, but 18, 19 years old. Hey man, you got to create content. You can't not do it today.
Yeah. Have you tried that? Have you tried to you've got the YouTube channel, so you got the videos going. Have you tried to do like reels and stuff on Instagram and stuff like that? See how that works?
No, I haven't. So that's where I need to, start stepping it up, putting myself out there. That's why I was like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? I said, sure. I don't know what we're going to talk about. But I feel like, hey, I'm not the most successful, but success, like I said, is relative,
100%.
And, you can always look at the other actor, someone in your social media that you're following, and be like, I wish I had their life or this, but your life is your life.
Nice. Your life is your life with Al Gomez, the actor. Incredible, bro. Incredible. You have a long way to go. You have a bunch of stuff that's going to happen. You've got the empathy part though. I think that's the most important part. Whether you're a businessman, whether you're in arts, whether you're an actor, having empathy, I think, is the biggest lesson that we can all learn.
Yeah.
For people, it's amazing, man. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So
yeah, one thing I like to live my life by is we have 2 ears and 2 eyes and only one mouth. So we're supposed to use our eyes and our ears more than and some people like to talk a lot and have to get their last word in, but I think from my own experience, I've been more of like a more observant person.
There you go. 2 eyes and 2 ears. Listen more, watch more, and don't talk so much. And if you are a new actor, come on the Raised Flaves podcast. This is the place to be seen. This is the place to come on. If you're a new artist, if you're a new painter, if you're an actor, come on the Raised Flaves show. Because here's the thing. You're all going to be famous. I'm not making you famous, but you're going to be famous. And then I'm going to say, I had Al Gomez on the show.
Yeah, and I'll come back.
And then he'll come back on the show, and then it'll be all famous people. See, that's how we do it.
And then I'll be like, hey, I was on Raised Flaves podcast, and it'll be, trending all over.
Boom. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Al, for doing this, my man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Come back?
Of course.
Come back. You do the crazy Twitch show that we do all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Mr. Corona, Ramon Works. We got to wrap it up. We got a lot to do today. We're going to have a shrimp bowl today. If you hang out, we're gonna eat. So
all right. We'll see.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Sim? Oh, whoa. What are you gonna? Oh, raid. You want me to raid Sim? Cool. Oh yeah, definitely. Let's try to raid somebody. Absolutely, Ramon. Let's see if we can raid people, guys. We're gonna go into a raid real quick.
Wait, so this is my first time doing this. So what's a raid?
We're gonna actually send everybody on the channel right now into somebody else's channel. And Ramon says, nice. Is Simp Mom live right now? If Simp Mom's live, we'll go. Let's try it. Let's see. This is like my 3rd time doing this too. Let's look at Simp Mom and see if she's alive. She's live. Simp Mom. There she is. Trader. Here we go, guys. We'll see you in the spear. So now we're in here show.
Nice.
Cool. Raid now. There we go. We are in her show. Fantastic. So I'll end the broadcast here.